You are listening to your new Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 102 of your new Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today I'm going to give you a few ways to create a positive interaction between your dog or your puppy and kids. Now, of course, if you have kids in your household, this is a great way to teach them how to interact with your dog, especially when the puppy first comes home. But where I think this is going to be really valuable and valuable to everybody is interactions with kids that maybe you don't know that well or you don't see very often. Or really, it's when you don't have the time or the access to teach them how to positively interact with your dog. Now, when I say positively interact, what I'm saying is I want your dog to feel safe and respected, especially by kids, because kids specifically can overwhelm a dog because they want to get in there. They want to hug the dog. They want to lay down next to him, maybe even on the dog, or, they pat the head, and even just being in the same environment. Kids are a little bit more erratic than adults. They're louder. They run around. Maybe they stomp. And that's why it's unfortunately really common for dogs not to like kids, because they just don't understand them and they don't necessarily feel safe around them. So these three things are designed to be super simple and allow you to be like, oh, wait, this is how my dog likes to be interacted with. So it's going to be great for socializing your dog with kids, especially if you don't have kids in your household. Because when I talk about socialization with my clients, I see kids as a completely separate category because to your dogs, they are. And I also thought this would be perfect right before the holidays, and because maybe the holidays at your house and the kids are going to be there, or you're going to somebody's house, you're taking your dog with you, and there's going to be kids there. You'll be able to use these strategies to create a little bit of calmness out of what is probably going to be chaos. Now, one more really, really important thing before I dive in is each of these activities is assuming that your dog is willing to interact, isn't showing any signs of stress, is nice and calm. Okay, if you think that your dog might not want to interact right now or seems a little overwhelmed, I'm going to give you things to do or ways to tell if that's happening at the end. Okay, so stay tuned because that's probably the most important part. Because remember, I keep saying positive interactions. We never want to force our dog into anything because the whole point is we want them to feel safe with kids. Okay, so here we go. The first activity, exercise, strategy, I'm not actually sure what to call it, but the first one is my favorite because it's probably the simplest, and it's teaching the kids to pet your dog collar to tail. So what I'll do is I'll have the dog sit. Maybe I'll have a treat that they're munching on in my hand, like a nice big chunky treat, so they have to nibble at it. And then I tell the kids, all right, you can pet the dog collar to tail. And it gives them a very specific instruction on how to pet the dog down the body. Okay, so this prevents the hugging, the patting over the head, the pulling on the tail or the ears, or even coming at the dog straight on, like face to face. So, because your dog is facing you and they're behind petting the dog collar to tail. I've actually used this with adults who were very unsure of dogs to help them be calmer when interacting with the dog because it gives them a specific way to do it. I also like it for if you have a group of kids, like your kids' friends have come over, or you passed a playground where you're like, all right, everybody line up and you can pet the dog collar to tail. Again, as I mentioned before, as long as your dog is calm and interested in it and is all about the interaction, but it helps kind of bring a little bit of structure to what can otherwise be an overwhelming experience. So the second one is great for the kids that are in your household in general. And if you have a little bit more time to work with the kids and like teach them how to interact with your dog, because this is actually a perfect way to teach any like person to interact with the dog. I use this one myself for dogs that I just meet. Okay, I'll explain that in a moment. So this is straight from the family dog. We know I love the family dog, especially when it comes to kid-dog interaction. And it's called pat, pet, pause. So the first step is pat, which just means that you're going to invite the dog into your space. So we're making the decision, the dog's decision, to come and interact. So that's the first way to make a dog feel safe and to start to trust you, that you're giving them that decision. So you stand still, you can even be sitting, and you pat your leg. You invite the dog into your space. If they don't come or if they walk away, okay, fine. Maybe we'll try again later. Maybe after a few treats, you'll come over to me. But if they do come over, great. Then it's time for pet. This is when you can bring in the collar to tail, or at the very least, you tell them pet the body and not to reach over the head. And you pet for 3 seconds, and then you pause. Pause as in stop for a moment, not, dog feet. So once you pause, you see how the dog interacts. If they stay, if maybe they even lean into you, you go in for another 3 seconds. But if the dog chooses to walk away, we let them go. We let them go and we try again later. Maybe we'll get another 3 seconds in later. Okay, so that's pat, invite the dog into your space by patting your leg. Pet, if the dog comes over to you, you can pet them for 3 seconds and then pause and see if the dog wants to continue interacting. And whenever I meet a dog, especially if they seem a little shy or unsure of me, this is how I do it. I'll pet for a few seconds and I'll just back away for a moment and see what they do and give them the decision. And this is how you build trust with a dog. Yes, when we imagine dogs, we imagine them jumping at us and wanting all the love in the world, but not every dog is like that. And when we do this with a dog, you will build trust so quickly with them, and then everybody will be jealous that you're the one the dog's following around. So when we can teach our kids this, not only can they use it for your dog and make sure your dog feels safe in this moment, but if those kids take it to all dogs, that's a bonus. Okay, so last one, number 3, takes a little bit of advanced planning, but you want to teach your dog a fun trick. Maybe a couple fun tricks like spin or shake or go to sleep or roll over. If right now all your dog really knows is the standard sit and down, then those work as well. Because what you're going to do is you're going to show the kids and you're going to let the kids interact. You're going to ask the kids are going to ask your dog for their paw. They're going to ask the dog to spin and then give the dog treats. So kids love it. They are delighted when dogs can perform these tricks, and the kids are giving them treats and the dog is doing something they know. So it's like a comfort zone for them. So it's a great way to create a little bit of fun and a positive interaction. And that's it. Those are the 3 ways to create a positive interaction between your dog and kids. Okay, the reason why these are powerful is because they're so easy and they're really easy for you to explain. And the kids don't need any previous knowledge about your dog or really any dogs, right? They're very specific instructions. They still get to interact with your dog, and they are designed to make your dog feel safe and respected. Now, what happens if your dog is expressing some stress? Maybe they're not really wanting to interact. Maybe they're overwhelmed. So ways you can tell, of course, when in doubt, assume your dog is stressed and moved on. But they're leaning away, or maybe they keep looking to you, or their ears are down, maybe they're crouched down. The easiest way is if their tail is tucked. A lot of times a dog who's nervous makes themselves smaller. Other subtle ways is if they're licking their lips or yawning. These are all ways to be like, my dog's a little stressed out. They're not really enjoying this interaction right now. Now, the first thing is you just advocate for your dog. You say, not right now. I always tell my clients, my dog's in training. I don't want them to interact right now. People tend to respect that. Or my dog isn't friendly. People definitely respect that. Sometimes my clients are like, well, I don't want everybody to think my dog's aggressive, but you know what? In a pinch, that works. My neighborhood that I live in probably thinks Mariah is the most aggressive dog because that's what I say to anybody who wants to interact with her when I take her for a walk. Because it's not that she's going to do anything. It's just that Mariah doesn't like strangers. She is a very slow to warm up kind of dog, and she's indifferent and doesn't really thrive under a stranger's attention. So I just say she's not exactly friendly, and I keep walking. And that protects her from that possible discomfort. Now, if you are bringing your dog somewhere, or say you're having people over, have a backup plan or make sure that there is a place for your dog to go that's quiet and if they need to decompress. Sometimes you need that to get a puppy to lay down and sleep because they have FOMO and they want to keep interacting. And we know how puppies can get when they're overtired but will not sleep, right? So make sure you have that option. And then it's really easy to say to the kids and really anybody, when my dog's on the bed or in their crate, that's their rest time. Don't disturb them. We can interact with them later. This is one of the first things I teach families with young kids, with new puppies, because your dog will learn that when they're on their bed, nobody bothers them. So they can self-regulate where they will take themselves to the bed when they don't want to be bothered, when they're ready to decompress from social situations. Okay? I know some of you with those dogs who like thrive on people attention are like, I don't think my dog would ever do that. Understand, but some dogs don't want people attention all of the time. So let's wrap it up. We have 3 ways to create that positive interaction, really super simple ways to create a positive interaction with kids, okay? Whether you're running into them on the street or going to their home. We have petting collar to tail. We have the pat, pet, pause method. And we have using fun tricks or cues to interact. And the main thing to keep in mind is that these interactions, these strategies are designed to make your dog feel safe and respected. When you respect a dog's space, when they feel safe, that's how you build trust and excitement around being around kids, being around people, being, going to parties. And if your dog's not feeling it, don't be afraid to be rude. Don't be afraid to be like, not now, does not want to interact. Because even that feeds into the positive experiences. When they can trust that my human will take care of it when I feel stressed, they are going to be more likely to want to be a part of the action. And that is all I have for you today. As always, if you are enjoying this podcast, I'd be super grateful if you rated and reviewed it wherever you listen, because that helps other puppy owners find the podcast. And if you are ready for more personalized training with me, you can check out my website at playtimepause.com and click on Work With Me, and you can find both my in-person, if you're in the North Jersey area, and my digital programs, which you can work with me from anywhere. Otherwise, I'll see you back here next time. If you are celebrating this week, happy holidays. I'll be speaking with you soon. Bye for now.